Hey guys, I got a question this week on how raising quail are different from raising chickens. I want to kind of start with some of the similarities between the two and say that quail are a lot like little chickens. They'll scratch like a chicken does, they'll hunt and predatorize and eat bugs like a chicken does, and they'll eat your table scraps, your vegetables, raw vegetables, and things like that, like chickens will. Though they won't do any of those three things to the same level and degree that chickens will, they still will do that. The eggs are very similar. They taste almost exactly the same. You can't really tell a whole lot of difference between the two. The roosters, the quail roosters crow just like a chicken does. They're not quite as loud. They don't have the lung capacity and power to be as loud as a chicken rooster, but they still can be a little obnoxious. They're pretty cold hardy, about to the same level as a chicken is, and they're nothing like a duck is, but they don't usually require a whole lot of supplemental heat, maybe only during the coldest times of the winter. When I raised these back in my teenage years, where I lived there, temperatures got into the teens, single digits, and a lot of times down into the below zero temperatures for weeks out of the winter, and we never lost a bird to the cold. So they're, like I said, they're not at the same level ducks are, but they're pretty cold and hardy as long as you keep them out of the wind and keep them dry. Those are the two things they need, and they should do just fine. The differences, how are they different from chickens? One thing is they're not homeable to a coop like chickens are. Quail kind of just do their own thing. They sleep out on the ground. They don't need a coop to get back to at night. They don't need something to roost on or perch on. Their ground creatures, kind of like a duck is. They just like to sleep on the ground. So they'll just go to sleep wherever they're at when it comes time to go to sleep. So you can't really free range them. On top of that, they fly as well, so you're just going to end up losing birds if you try to free range them. They are not a broody bird. They've been bred for 2,000 years to be a egg production bird, and they have lost all their broodiness that they have in them. So they also just lay their eggs wherever. They don't go back to a nesting box to lay them. So if you have them in an aviary system, you're going to have to do an Easter egg hunt every day for your eggs. If you have them in a cage rack system like mine, they will just roll out into the egg trays and it won't be a problem. They do have different feed requirements. They need a little higher protein content than chickens do, though the stuff you need you can usually find anywhere you can find your local chicken feed at. How are they better than chickens? A couple of things. They are good for small spaces, so apartment dwellers, urbanites, people with small living spaces. They can actually live indoors if need be, as long as you manage the smell and the poop with their excrement. There's ways to do that. The eggs are more valuable. If you're wanting to do something to sell eggs to help pay for the feed and the cost of the animal, it's easier to make them pay for themselves than it is to make chickens pay for themselves, because everybody and their dog sells chicken eggs on the corner for $3 a dozen. Quail eggs are a little bit more of a delicacy for fine restaurants, and you can usually find some places, if you're in a good area, foodie area, you can find places that will buy your quail eggs. The locally grown, locally produced thing is pretty big right now. It's a pretty hot thing right now. They're not restricted like chickens are in most places. I mean, you have to check with your local ordinances, city, county ordinances, about keeping them in your particular area, but most places usually just say no chickens allowed. And you can probably sometimes get away with that by saying they're pets. We keep them indoors, they're in a cage indoors, and it shouldn't be any different than keeping a parakeet. So that's one way they might be able to get around some of those restrictions, like you can't do with chickens. The birds are easy to process if you want them for meat to slaughter. They're an excellent meat product. I prefer them to chicken. And they're really easy to process. You need a pair of scissors and about a minute and a half of your time, and you can process one bird from slaughter to putting it on the grill. So they're really easy to handle that way. They also take 6 to 8 weeks before they start laying eggs, from hatch to laying eggs, whereas a chicken takes 6 months. So 6 to 8 weeks you're getting eggs, and then you can slaughter as early as 6 weeks. 8 weeks is a little bit better, and they really got that full size on them. So it's really easy to put out a lot of meat and a lot of eggs quickly and to reproduce your own birds. So those are some of the benefits, some of the differences. I might go into more depth on some other things in a later video. If there's more particulars you want to know about any of those subjects, please let me know. Leave me a comment, or you can email me at Jaren, Jaren, @urbanaviary.com.